Good evening everybody, Car and Biker here, out on a nice evening ride on a Wednesday. It's a lovely evening, another one of those where you need to cool off after a hot day, and I've just been doing a bit of a job. It's the bike is soaking wet, not because it's been raining. Oh, if only. I'm waiting for the rain. We're supposed to be getting thunderstorms tomorrow, but they've been promising those again and again and again and have never arrived yet. And I love going out and standing in a thunderstorm in proper heavy rain. But no, because I've washed the bike. It's got to be done every so often. People keep telling me. Personally, I think the mud gives it a protective barrier, protective coating. But apparently it's supposed to be clean for some reason. And I thought, how do I dry it off? I could use some rinse magic, that magic chemical that makes all the water just fall off. Or I could get some towels out and dry it. And those are probably very efficient methods. Or I thought a much more fun method is to get the keys and go for a ride. Ah, no. Fly. I'm going to have to wash it again tomorrow and take it for a ride again. No, 2 more flies. I've just bought a new security system. My old security system broke, stopped working. You could tell it stopped working when I actually walked into the house past a lot of sensors without turning it off and nothing happened. So I thought, that's not very good, time to get a new one. So I got myself a new alarm with all the various kind of bits and bobs to see people opening doors and windows, and see if somebody walks past a kind of PIR sensor, all that kind of stuff. But I've got a couple of cameras as well that are going to go outside, so they will cover the front and the back of my house. And the cameras come with AI. The key thing is that anybody walks within a designated area of the camera and draw a little box or a little shape over the bit of area the camera is looking at. Anybody walks through that area, it will immediately send a message to me saying somebody's there, and then I can on my phone look and see who's there through the cameras. Now that's the kind of AI I like. So let's get into the rant part. All of the other AI that I keep hearing about at the moment is driving me round the twist more than it would drive you round the twist to be stuck behind a Volvo driver doing high 30 mile per hour in a 50. So let's get past them and get them out of the way. I get bombarded with email at work because I'm in software development and I manage a team, and my name has somehow got out there. I get bombarded with people saying, hey, we've got a developer, would you like to employ them? And they usually amount to nothing. And hey, we've got a new product, would you like to see it? Would you like a demo? And I tend to stick them straight in the junk mail, mainly because if I did set up a meeting with every one of them that sent me an email, I would never get anything done but meetings with potential vendors. But I'm getting more and more, hey, look at our product, it's got AI. And what they mean by it's got AI is not it's got some kind of clever machine learning algorithm or anything like that. It's got a large language model, which is a technical term for something I'm sure plenty of people have heard of. ChatGPT, Copilot, and a few others. Google's got one, Apple's got one, and there are many, many more appearing. But basically, a large language model that is effectively just a predictor of what the next word should be in a sentence. A very, very, very accurate predictor in many cases, but basically very clever autocorrect, or I suppose predictive text, if you remember your Nokia 3310 in the past. What that really means in most of these products is a chatbot. So you can get their product. Sometimes it's a product in its own right, sometimes it's something that they're trying to sell us to include in our software. But you get a product where you can potentially, let's say the one was in our software, so at the minute I'm writing some software that deals with setting up user security in a clever way and distributing it over multiple systems. So the people who are using that piece of software, rather than using the documentation that we've written or the training that we've given them directly, we could poke one of these models at our documentation, and then when somebody comes along and says, how do I set up a user, it would tell them by regurgitating mainly the documentation we'd written. Now, I think machine learning and AI, it has a potential to be completely world-changing, even down to little things. And this is not sour grapes about anything that I'm not doing. I've done machine learning stuff in the past. I wrote a quite fun little thing that tried to read numbers, and actually was quite successful in reading numbers that had been handwritten by people. Somebody's in a hurry. And it was quite, you could just write down the numbers between 0 and 9 and it would tell you which ones they were, and if you put hundreds of those numbers on a page, it would read them and work out what they were, and you didn't have to kind of use a typewriter font or anything like that. That kind of machine learning can go way more impressive than that, like facial recognition, like finding new drugs, like spotting patterns in data that human beings would never be able to spot, or would take 1,000 years to spot. Large language models aren't that. They don't know anything, they're not intelligent. I think calling them AI is wrong. It's clearly just marketing. They're never going to come up with any new information, because basically they've just grabbed information off the internet in the most of the cases, or in one of these that I might purchase to integrate into one of my own bits of software. Though why I would do that and not just use one of the free open source ones, I don't know. But yeah, what they actually do is something very similar, but very much cleverer than my spotting the numbers from 0 to 9. They see patterns and they produce results, and the results are quite clever. Yeah, they are enough to convince people that in some cases that they're talking to something with intelligence, but they're not. And they're enough to convince people that the information that they give is correct, as would have been my bit of software I wrote. Except with my bit of software, occasionally it would see a 6 as an 8, or an 8 as a 6. Not often, not very often at all. Maybe it was right 99.9% of the time. Maybe it was only 1 in 1,000 times that it was wrong. And maybe it's only 1 in 1,000 times that these large language models are wrong. Probably of little consolation to the lawyer in America who asked ChatGPT to come up with some precedents for a case, presented them to a judge, and then was fined heavily because ChatGPT had made one up, because they aren't 100% accurate. Now, it turns out in America there's been a bit of a study going on of people who have been using these things. This is software developers, so people like me and my team, who've been told by companies to use them, and they might lay off a couple of people. So say you got a team of, I don't know, half a dozen people perhaps. They might lay off a couple of people, bring in 3 licenses or 4 licenses. It'd be 4 because there'd be 4 people left. So lay off 2 of the 6, bring in 4 licenses for this software, and then tell those developers they've still got to develop at the same rate as 6 people, but using this LLM in order to do that with only 4 people. And what they've actually found out is that the bosses who are convinced by all of the marketing hype are quite happy with the decision they've made. The quality of the software is worse, and also it's making the people who are left unhappy. Not just unhappy because they've got more work to do or something like that, and a tool to help them do it, but unhappy because the tool isn't good enough, and they become basically checkers of the tool. Because the tool can produce incorrect results, their job becomes checking the tool, but the tool is expected to be the creative one. So they're unhappy to become administrators rather than creative people, because they got into the job to be creative in the first place. Presumably not as unhappy as the people who were laid off, of course. So yeah, I'm ranting. AI it's marketing hype. It's rubbish, the way that it's being used at the minute. AI itself is amazing. AI hype that we're in at the minute is just blockchain all over again. Blockchain, for those people who are not aware of these kind of things, is what Bitcoin was based on, and all these cryptocurrencies. A promising technology, we were told, that would solve all these millions of problems, and basically amounted to very little compared to what the hype said. There are some uses out there still, but mainly hype. And the cryptocurrency, also similar level of hype to the AI hype we've got now. That led to a very few people getting rich, and even fewer number getting obscenely rich, and a lot of people losing their shares. These things are not for us, these things are for the tech billionaires, unfortunately. It's not about making our lives better, it's about concentrating money in the hands of half a dozen very, very big companies who've already got too much money. But it's bad in other ways too. It's appalling the way that the energy is being generated and used to create these large language models. We're talking stupid amounts of energy, opening up new power stations just to run the computers to generate the models so that somebody can ask the question that would otherwise be available through a Google search anyway, with a little bit of research, and the results you get might be wrong. To finish my rant, I just want to say about the stuff that's also popped up now, because obviously we're tracked with everything we do on the internet, and I did quite a bit of research looking for my new security system. And part of that research obviously got me looking at this AI and the facial recognition and all these features of these various camera systems, including the one that I ended up getting. And that has led to me now getting advertised at me everything under the sun to do with AI. This is not through my work stuff, but this is at home. I actually got advertised an AI fridge. An AI fridge. What exactly do you need artificial intelligence for and an internet connection to run it to keep things cold at either about 5 degrees for chilled stuff or about -20 for frozen stuff? What artificial intelligence do I need for that? And it turns out the answer to what I need for that, according to the makers of the magical AI fridge, is it can keep an eye on everything I buy, everything I put into the fridge or the freezer, everything I take out. It'll track it, it'll understand what's in there. I mean, it won't, it's going to get it wrong, I'll guarantee that for nothing. But even if it worked, it will know everything. It'll know all the food I've got. It'll know Mrs. C's makeup that she keeps in the fridge, presumably. It'll know all of these things, even though a lot of the things we put in are in tubs, because it's, I've made a curry or something, I've whacked it into a tub and put it in the freezer. The only way it's going to know what that is if I write it on the box and it reads the text somehow. Maybe it'll use my little AI algorithm from the past, as long as I do it in numbers. Or I'd have to actually tell it what I was putting in, wouldn't I? Oh no! Gravel! Gravel on my favourite road. Need some artificial intelligence to replace this muck, I tell you that for nothing. It's going everywhere at the minute they're doing this. It's really quite incredibly annoying. Apparently once it knows everything that's in my fridge freezer, it can suggest recipes that I would like. Or it can tell me when I've run out of something, and then I can go and buy some more. What amazing technology, what a world we live in. Because when I eat the last piece of cheese, I often put the empty wrapper back and think, yes, I'll have some more of that tomorrow. That doesn't happen. And when I'm thinking of doing a recipe, well, I tend to think of doing a recipe and then I go and buy the things I need for it that I don't have. And I just look in the fridge and go, have I got any of that? No, I haven't. But I also look in the cupboards, because it turns out I don't keep all of the food in the fridge or the freezer. There's quite a lot in the cupboards, and the spices in the spice rack. And because I'm often quite lazy, there's stuff that I've bought and just thrown on the side that hasn't got into a cupboard yet. So I guess to get the whole thing working, I'd need not only an AI fridge freezer, but I'd also need an AI spice rack, an AI set of cupboards, and an AI work surface where I've dumped something. Maybe even AI stairs, because occasionally I put something on the stairs when I walk in and then forget about it for a while. Yeah. Why do we need this? The answer is easy. We don't. We don't need an AI fridge. We don't need an AI TV trying to tell us what we're going to watch. They can already do that without a special TV anyway, by monitoring everything we watch. We don't need it, the companies do. You don't buy a new fridge freezer generally until it breaks. They want you to buy a new one before it breaks. You don't buy a new television, well I don't, before it breaks, or before the technology's improved amazingly. With me, it's until it breaks. My TV is about 15 years old, if maybe longer than that. You know, you don't generally just go out and buy these things until you need them, because they're expensive considered purchases. One of the classic ones now is computers. People don't go out and buy a new computer or a new laptop or whatever unless their old one is now too slow. What's a brilliant way of making it too slow? AI. And now they're all going to have AI chips, so that we can run these AI models apparently on our own computers, as if we care. Hey ho. Anyway, I should stop ranting now, because it won't do my blood pressure any good at all, will it? And I'm nearly at the end of my ride. I might have to go around again, avoiding that gravelly bit at the end, just for the fun of it. And there's still a bit of moisture down there that needs drying up. So yeah, that was a rant and a half. Hopefully this isn't half an hour's video. I'll try and trim it down a bit. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in them there comments. Ride safe everyone, and I'll talk to you all again soon.